more player.
Skill work, a lot of shooting, break down things in the morning. The evening we got after it, which was fun. It was good. It got a little chippy, which is good to see. And that's just that competitive spirit. Guys they're itching to play and compete. So I like a little bit of that. A little bit of an edge. The challenge is to push each other, do it the right way, but we want to be competitive.
So who's officiating? And I think I know who started the chippiness. But
I'm usually the official, and I don't mind that because I believe if you're wrong and strong. Just commit to it. They can be mad at you, but that's life.
Was today's practice a little bit longer than normal? I'm just wondering the reason for that.
Oh, we did a lot of sprints today. I'm just joking. We had 2 yesterday, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to teach in the morning, get a little bit carryover as we went live in the evening. Today was just more, let's get up and down, kind of apply some of the things we tried to implement yesterday, but in more live segments. And just being prudent with, the amount of workload we're putting on these guys. And they've been working hard for the past 3+ weeks. So just being mindful of that, understanding the load at this point in the preseason. We've got time, but we also want to work efficiently.
Okay. And also, Brad, I think, mentioned yesterday that you guys are going to be doing less switching this year.
Yes.
I'm just wondering what the thinking or the philosophy behind that is.
Just, I think it's just more schematic choice. I've had some degree of success doing things a certain way. Other teams do it, and they're very good at it. And I think there's a place for it, and there's times we're going to do that. But it kind of goes back to making sure we lay the foundation and then adjust accordingly.
Does having a rim protector like Daniel Gafford factor into that? Like when you have, or is there something about the personnel that you think allows you to not have to switch?
Not necessarily. I think it's regardless of what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. If you're doing it with technique, proper technique, you do it with effort, you're physical. I think it bodes well, regardless of what that is. I think for us, in pick and rolls specifically, we want to impact the ball. And you do that, you're exposing yourself to some degree, but we're making the dominant ball handler in most cases make an earlier decision.
I want to ask you about rebounding. It wasn't a strength of this team a couple of years ago, and then last year was kind of fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, one player who left this offseason is one of the greatest rebounders in his position in NBA history. So what do you think are going to be kind of the keys and priorities to making sure you guys can rebound the ball?
Well, beyond just the mentality, I think it's also, a focus. It's something we have to continue to harp on. It's not just on Daniel Gafford or Montrezl or TB when he comes back. It's not just the bigs. It's all 5. And they just have to have that mindset of, we're not ball watching. Shot goes up, you turn, you find a body, you hit first. So it's just a mindset as far as a collective unit, and it's not on one person specifically.
Wes, we talked to Spencer a little bit about kind of the versatility in his game. He's capable of shooting, capable passer, shooting numbers when he's healthy and everything like that. Obviously, he defends. What, I guess, have you seen from his game? Was there anything in particular that makes you like, oh yeah, I'll be able to use that. I can work with that this season.
No, I would agree with all those. I mean, he's a very dynamic offensive player. He's shown it's something you probably aren't aware of because you haven't seen him in a while, but very good playmaker. He's a very cerebral player, understands the time, the score, playing 2-for-1 situations. So having him on and off the ball, he can also orchestrate offense for some other people. It's a great weapon to have.
And is he all good to go with everything? I think when we asked him on media day, he said the training staff had him be cautious, but he should be good.
Oh, he looked great today, and the whole practice. So I think they're still mindful of where he is in his recovery, but there are very few, if any, limitations.
Did anybody else not go, or was everybody else on board?
No, everybody else was on board.
There's been some talk about Denny Avdia being a secondary playmaker,
Mhm.
and there's been other players that have kind of come through here before that was said, and it seems like it might be a little bit easier said than done sometimes.
Mhm.
But does your experience in Denver with Nikola Jokic, who was obviously a unique player in that regard, do you think that helps? And then how do you kind of see it working with him?
I mean, it's certainly advantageous if you have guys out there with skill level, and I think we do. That flexibility, diversity we've talked about allows you to move guys around and play different positions. So you're not necessarily locked into spots. It's not this guy has to be in this particular spot. It's just those 4 guys, 5 guys fill those areas and let's play out of concepts. So now they understand the 2-3-man relationships. It's not a play. They're just reading and reacting as far as what the defense gives them. That makes it that much harder to guard.
And what have been your impressions of Isaiah Todd so far? I know there's a lot of players out there.
Mhm.
What have you seen from him?
You know what? He's had good stretches. He's had those rookie stretches like deer in the headlight. And that's to be expected because we're throwing a lot at a guy, the pace of play, the physicality. We're moving him around from position to position. So all those things, aside from just the nerves of your rookie season, it's probably, weighing on him at times, but he's responded well. And he's shown good moments. And then there's teaching moments where he's just, that's the mark of a young player trying to figure it out.
Wes, I feel like when we talked to Rudy at media day, a lot of guys came in, were like very low key, measured everything, and then kind of Trez just sat down and was just like a different presence, I guess. What from that point of view, what does he kind of add to the group? Do you have chemistry wise, also wise, that kind of stuff?
Well, I think overall energy's been great. The one thing Trez brings is it's the vocal energy, and it's welcomed because sometimes the gym is quiet. We preach that level of communication, not just from player to player or player to coach, from coach to player, but on the floor. I think it's the more they communicate, good, bad, or indifferent, that allows them to be on the same page.
I just want to follow up real quick, not on the specifically on the switching stuff, but at this point, you got the things that you kind of want to lay down, your foundation, versus the specific talents or specific players that you have. I'm just curious right now, how much do you adjust to the players that you have, or is this now kind of like let's lay the foundation and then we'll build to that point at some point?
Yeah, I think when laying that foundation, you have to take your personnel into context. Last thing you want to do is put your players in situations where they are uncomfortable or don't feel they have the opportunity to have success. So we've kind of laid that out prior to even implementation, as far as doing these things, keeping in mind our personnel. And then once we kind of get those things in, we'll start to make adjustments. And those will be more game plan. Once we get into competitive situations, those also will be some of the checklist items that we talked about yesterday.
All right, Coach, we're going to take one last question from Zoom. Neil.
Hey, Coach, you talked, about the sense of urgency that you want guys to bring to start the season. How do you balance, that happening versus, it's a new system and a lot of new guys coming in. How do you balance that but still try and keep expectations high?
Right. Well, I think that sense of urgency is a mindset. It's not necessarily we have to rush to get everything in, or we're going to feel pressured to check everything off those checklists before October 5th, our first preseason game, or even before October 19th. It's going to take some time. I think that sense of urgency is more in where are we competitively? That we're not just going to think, okay, we can skip our way into the season. We have to hit the ground running. We have to play with a purpose. We want to maintain that competitive edge from the beginning of the preseason. Those other items we'll get to, but it's our mentality as far as how we want to approach and how we want to play.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, thank you for your time today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So last night was the first time really you guys got a competitive 5-on-5 game. What did you learn about it?
Got a great group of guys, man. We got a lot of tough competitive guys that's willing to learn. A lot of young pieces mixed in with some guys that are, labeled as veterans. Me, myself excluded as one of those guys. But I really don't think we really have any veterans on the team. When you look at veterans, you look at guys who are in 12, 13 years in their career. We don't have any guys like that. I think our guy that has the most years on our team is Brad, man, and he's only 28, man. So we got a great group of guys, man. We came in, got after it, got a great group of work yesterday, a great group today. So just looking to continue to keep building on that, really.
From your experience of being in the league, though, how important are stacking days?
Um, every day is important with stacking the positive days because you don't get that many days where you practice and be able to be on the court to go over the game plan, well, to develop guys. So every day that you can stack on a good day, it's always going to be a positive. You try not to have any setback days or any negative step of days because at the end of the day, it's not really going to do you anything good. We're already limited on time when we get in the gym and be able to go over plays, develop, and just work on that game. Because the season's so long, so many different games are played, and now travel and with capacity going back to full with fans. This is probably the first time we're close to a normal season. So.
Coach Unseld said that he doesn't envision guys doing a lot of switching on defense, maybe with this team previous season. What does that mean to you as a defender to know that there's not going to be as much switching as when some other teams do?
That's coach's game plan. We're going to carry it out to a T. We're going to get, do the things that we need to do in order to make sure that we don't cause ourselves to have to start switching. That's what coach's game plan is, and that's what we're going to carry out to a T. It's not nothing personal for anybody. That's just what he feels that works best for us as a team.
And every year you rank pretty highly in box outs. They track that on the NBA. What's kind of the key to a good box out, and what do you think needs to be one of the best in the NBA doing?
Honestly, man, I'm not the guy that was blessed with a lot of height as these other guys that put us in a position, man. So I just try to use my physicality and just be able to put a body on guys and just do the little things to be able to keep them off the glass so don't give them second, third chances for the team. Like I said, I'm not blessed with the height that every other big has, but it doesn't take anything to compete and play with heart, play with determination, have a will to want to be able to put a body on somebody. So ultimately you're doing the goal to help the team seal the defensive rebound and not give them extra chance shots. It's already played for 24 seconds and then it's tough to have to get them another shot and you go for another 14.
Todd, you told us the other day that you really want to be one of the vocal guys, or think you will be one of the vocal guys with the, like you said, lack of kind of 14 old heads in the group. How do you view that for where you are in your career? Are you kind of like, okay, this is going to be a challenge for me. This is going to make me grow and kind of be one of those more experienced guys, or how do you look at that?
It's just a growing process, it's a learning experience. I think just in general, our whole team is a fairly new team, all the way, from top to bottom, starting with coach. But like I said, it's a growing process for everybody. Me myself, I was just able to be around a lot of programs, a lot of organizations throughout even college, where I was just able to learn from guys like that. I went to Louisville, played on the Coach Pitino, had older guys in front of me, Peyton Siva, guys like that. And I went to Houston, another veteran team, James Harden, Trevor Ariza, guys like that, Mike Beasley. Every team I've been around guys that has like legit veteran guys on the team who's been in the league for multiple amount of years. And then I was just blessed to be able to link up with Lou, and it just took off from there. So I've been around guys who, know how to carry their stuff in that leadership role, whether it's a big role or whether it's, playing the sidelines, but also being vocal and helping the younger guys throughout the process.
And obviously you have a unique perspective down at center, but if you've seen them play together a lot so far, what do you notice about how Brad and Spencer kind of work off each other?
They're two different type of players, honestly. Brad is a guy who, is not really an ideal, needs this, need that. He's a guy that just plays and gets after it, and no matter what the circumstances are placed in front of him, he overcomes them, he works at it, and he, flourishes in it, really. Spence is, he likes situations, he likes different spots on the floor. He likes to, different type of things he's looking at when he's coming off a pick and roll, or if he's able to get a switcher and things like that. So it's just two different type of players. But you're going to have that with anybody on the team. I don't think nobody on our team has the, complete same exact game as anybody else. So you're going to take some time, and it's going to take time to have to learn how to play with those guys, and I feel like that's for everybody.
All right, we'll go over to Zoom. Neil.
Hey, Montrez, I'm curious, you have two younger centers, in the rotation with you, Daniel and Thomas Bryant. I think, one of them said that you kind of passed on to them, you really got to lock in this league with some of your advice. Do you have any other advice that you think that you can be able to pass on to them to help grow their games and develop their games?
It's going to be a process. This year is definitely going to be a process. It's going to be a learning process for all of us. And we're going to have ups, we're going to have downs throughout the whole year. But honestly, it's not words of encouragement just for them, it's words of encouragement for our team, man. We're going to have to go through a lot of growing processes, both up and down, like I said, but we're going to have to stick together. We're going to have to, make sure that we lean on each other even more in those type of times. We can't start pointing the finger at one another. It's not just one person's fault. I mean, like I said, this is going to be a learning process from everybody, from top to bottom, coach all the way down to the last player on our roster, man. So we're going to do it together. And as long as we know that we're going to do it together, I think we're going to be just fine.
Appreciate it.
Christos.
Hey, Montrezl, hope you're doing well. In those couple of days in the training camp, what did you learn about your new team?
I mean, we haven't been out there that long. I mean, yesterday was kind of like our first day. We had 2 yesterday. So it's still a learning process overall. We got a lot of good players on our team, a lot of young pieces. And like I said, it's mixed in with some, players that's kind of considered as veteran type players. But, like I said, it's going to continuously be my, constant quote throughout the whole year, man. This is going to be a learning process, man, because we have almost a complete new team. I think, Brad spoke on it when we met up having team dinner the very first day, man. I think him and maybe, 1 or 2 other guys is like the long guys who've been here throughout this organization for the whole haul. I mean, and the same thing with coaches in some of the front office, and he spoke on that. So, like I said, he's a guy who's been here from, top to bottom ever since he came into this league, man. And that's going to be the head of our snake. And we're just going to do everything that we can to be able to just compliment him and, just make things easier for him.
And also, how you approach the next season, and what's your mindset to be as a Wizard player?
The same mindset I have every year, brother. Just come in, look able to work, look able to get better, and do everything I can to help will my team to a win, man. This isn't about me. This isn't a me season. This isn't nothing to go out and improve, man. This is another season where I'm blessed to be a part of an NBA organization and, a team that wants me. And I want to just go out there and do anything I can to help them be able to win games and, make a run in the playoffs. Simple as that.
Thanks for your time, Montrez. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Oh my God. Why my line look real straight right now? I saw the other video and it wasn't looking too good sometimes. No, it was just when we were doing the press conference and I was looking at myself in the camera and I was like, it's looking a little crooked, but right now it's looking pretty. Good point. My God, Spence. You're a 12. Sorry.
Spitz, can we start with going back to last night, playing pickup for the first time in camp? Wes said it was competitive, with some high spirit. How would you assess it?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it was. I think a lot of our styles promote defensive rotations, flying around, ball moving on the offensive end. I think everybody definitely first day of camp, is going to have that high energy, high intensity. I think the best part was there was a lot of carryover to today. And, we're going to continue to try to build on each day, get 1% better and hope that the energy and the flow stays high.
I asked Montrez about stacking positive days.
Yeah.
Just from your experience through camp, is that really a key to kind of get off to a good start during the regular season?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at what's going on the first, or not first, but the last 3 weeks or so with guys having a collective buy-in, I think coming in a pretty good shape and things like that, it allows you to start stacking those days because, if guys aren't in shape or haven't been doing their due diligence over the summer, then, you get more injuries, you get more, guys taking days off or having to miss different practices, et cetera. Like we haven't really had that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's pretty much been a full go for the most part. And, it's been great to see.
I wanted to, we're talking about the treatment. Obviously not your first ACL situation.
Yeah.
Was it easier this time around to go through it? Do you feel like you took something different from it, having to go through the whole recovery process again?
Far easier. I've told this story a lot. Like you gotta remember, like I was in college and I fully tore my ACL. I tore my lateral meniscus, my medial meniscus, which both required repairs. For people that, know that type of recovery, it further complicates things because I was on crutches for 7 weeks. So the atrophy in my leg was crazy. I also tore my MCL as well.
in that same injury. So, I was on crutches for 7 weeks. The atrophy in your leg is crazy. Like it's a completely different process. I mean, when you first come back walking, like you walk like you have a peg leg, and it's a not fun experience. This one obviously was a partial ACL tear. It still required obviously the surgery. But I mean, I was walking on the 4th or 5th day. So, there's not much atrophy occurs in that time period. Like you get a little bit, and obviously you have the swelling from the surgery and different things that you deal with, which are just par for the course in any type of operation. But 4 or 5 days versus 7 weeks, just kickstarting your recovery. And then obviously having all the NBA resources, credit the Brooklyn staff and, for starting the process. Then you got Fabrice, Barons, Mike G, Craig out in LA, like carrying the torch on, and then the diligence of the Wizards staff now as the torch has kind of been passed to them, and just all the resources are just different. I mean, when something happens, like I can contact my PT immediately, and if I'm on the other side of the country, I can fly them out. Like when you're, like when you're in college, you're like, we gonna ice this, or like. What are we going to do? So it's a completely different process, and that's no shot at obviously any college in Colorado specifically. I love them, but it's just different.
Yeah. You talked to us the other day a lot about how you view your job as obviously partially to make things easier for Brad, to aid him, and things like that. What about coming here now that you know the organization a little bit more, gotten to kind of see the style of everybody? What do you feel like about this organization fits you well, and what you want to accomplish in kind of your career aside from we got to get Brad to sign that Supermax thing?
Yeah. And let me preface those comments as well too. I mean, my job in general as a point guard, as a leader, is to make the game easier on all of them. Obviously we highlight Brad because he's our best player. Like he scores 30. So how can I help it be better? But that's how I view the point guard position. Everybody has their own viewpoint on it. But when I was kind of breaking down the game, like the reason why I said I want to learn first is because that allows me to then make the game easier on them, because people have their own style, right? And I'd rather adapt to them in a lot of ways than them adapt to me, because I'm going to have enough possessions to where like I'm going to be able to get aggressive and get selfish in certain moments. You know what I mean? Everybody's not going to have that opportunity. Like it's going to be hard on, maybe the 8th or 9th man to come in and I just be like, yo, just go stand in the corner, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like the more I can promote that confidence in him, I'm still going to get my possessions where I break off a play and go shoot the ball. Like that's going to be part of the game, part of the process. What I take most from the Wizards organization and what I love most is just feeling love. I think everybody in life, regardless of your relationship, whether it's business-wise, romantic, paternal, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like you want to feel loved and valued and respected. I think, especially in terms of male relationships, right? You want to feel respected. And that's been afforded to me here, unlike really any NBA stop that I've had. The last time I probably felt like this was in college. And so I'm excited.
Who made you feel the love?
Brad, Shep, I'm saying, to start, and now Coach Unseld, as we start to build a rapport. I mean, it's no secret, right? Like my NBA journey's been rocky. And the Nets were great to me. Like this is not saying that they weren't, but in terms of being like, hey, like you're our guy, like this is gonna go as far as Brad and you know what I'm saying, and the other vets take it. Like that's a completely different conversation. And like, well, we know you're really good. I'm like, thank you, but like give me a little more juice there.
Okay, last one for me. What's your least favorite part of the kitchen sink that they're throwing at the recovery?
Least favorite part? Today they're telling me after I get out of here with y'all, they want me to try to do a 3-minute fully submerged ice bath. So doesn't sound fun. Yeah, like basically like chin down.
Why?
So,
what do you have to do the upper half?
oh well, it's I think hormonal response or something like that. Let them break down the science and whatnot. So we're gonna roll the dice on that one and see. I'll report back maybe tomorrow or something.
Enjoy. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey Spencer, Coach has talked a lot about having a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that he's preached to the team that's really stood out to you so far?
I mean, I think the accountability aspect of things, I think that's really important with a young group. And that effort isn't something that should be coached. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should bring that every single day. That's just part of normal competitiveness. And then obviously if you already have that effort at a high level, and your intentions are in the right place and you're accountable, then the rest of it's going to fall into place. Like basketball is an imperfect game. You know, it's a game where the best players maybe shoot 50%, which means they're probably missing over half of their shots. You know what I mean? So like, this is not a situation where you're expected to make every single shot or not turn it over. And so it really comes down to those other little nuanced things, like not having to coach effort, being accountable as a person when you do turn it over, do make a mistake. So he's talked about those things, and I think it bodes well for us, especially being a semi-young group. Well, I see Quentin in the stream. His hand raised.
Let's kick off Zoom questions here, and we'll go to Quentin.
What's happening?
What's happening? Spence, so far in camp, is there one player that is giving you like the most bump or like the most annoyance? Somebody that kind of just grinds your gears, but like brings the best out of you, maybe.
Grinds my gears, but brings the best out of me. Aaron Holiday's actually been on my team for the most part. So not him, but I definitely really respect him as a defender. I've said that before. Pope, I think, is a great defender. Having to guard Brad every now and then is definitely difficult. Kuzma likes to talk, but boy, that man can't guard me. Jesus, it's so dicey. It's so dicey. I try to tell him, like, bro, like, I'm 8 months removed from ACL. It's only gonna get worse. Like, it only gets worse. This right now was your best bet, and it ain't worked out.
That's all I got.
All right, let's go to Yaron.
Hey, Spencer. Looking at what playing and then seeing Denny in a day and a half, what have you seen from him so far? And I know there's talks of him being more of a playmaker despite being a 6'9" guy. So are you seeing some of that already?
Yeah, in the portions that Denny's participated in and the things that looks like he can do, looks like he's a high basketball IQ guy. And I'm looking forward to being able to play with another playmaker. Obviously, we have a lot of guys that have high basketball IQ. You look at the former Lakers that came over; they're all vets and grizzled, and you got Aaron Holiday, Beal, obviously Denny as well, all make plays, and so it's going to be fun to not have too much predictability in what we do.
Thanks.
Let's go to Neil.
Hey, Spencer. There's a lot of talk about being able to guard your man, not necessarily have to rely on help defense is something that kind of plagued the team previously before you got here. I'm curious for you, you pride yourself as a strong defender. What kind of mindset or mentality, and is that something that you just always have, or that you can grow and try and develop to just, okay, I'm going to guard my man and I'm not going to let him get past me?
I mean, I think that's another thing that just kind of comes down to competitiveness, number one, and also being in good condition. We're playing against the best offensive players in the world. Like, people are going to score, right? But it's about making it difficult, making sure that they're taking the shots that, we want them to take, tough, contested, low percentage shots. And if they make this shot, then you got to shake their hand. I mean, obviously, like I said, they're the best players in the world, but I think it really just kind of comes down to competitiveness and being in shape and going out there and giving that effort. And the great part about, like I said, our camp so far is the effort has been high. And I think that's why, we've been doing some of these things at a pretty good clip. Once again, we haven't been in any real games yet, so we haven't tested it against our opponents. But, if we do have that requisite carryover, then, we should have a good chance this season.
And we started to hear a little bit about, the team dinner that you guys had a couple nights ago. To you, did that stick out to you? Was there anything that was like, yes, this is something that, I've seen like winning teams do or good teams do, and this is something that's important for us to get off to a good start?
Definitely. Overall, I mean, team camaraderie is huge. I think some of the things that separate, some of the teams in the league beyond just talent are like, things like confidence and togetherness and stuff like that are really big separators. Was it 2018-19? Yeah, team that I was on with the Nets that, had like Dudley and D'Lo and all that stuff. You saw the bench energy and all that. Like, we really were kind of like this, like spunky bunch that people didn't expect a lot of, but that energy and that togetherness, like, we had a lot of fun playing with each other or playing together as a unit. And I think that is what kind of carried us in a lot of the, ways that we were talent deficient, so that's definitely big. And, Brad gave a little speech that felt like MLK. So we're ready to go to war.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Spencer.
No problem.
We're going to finish off with Christos.
Hello, Spencer. Hope you're doing well. How good is the fit with the team so far, and what is your expectation chemistry-wise about this season?
I think the fit in terms of just being high character guys, great people, chemistry so far has been great. How we feel on the court, I mean, that's an evolving process, right? The NBA season's 82 games. Like we're going to be tested. Like we're not going to go 82-0. No team ever has. Excuse me. Sorry. So that is something that, seems good right now, but we got to continue to do it and go through the fire. We're going to be tested when we lose a couple games in a row, and how do we bounce back from that? And if we have injuries or we have, a trade or we have, just things that go on during NBA season, like that's when all that stuff is going to be tested. But in terms of just like high quality individuals, high character individuals, like we definitely have that. And I think that gives us a good chance. And then, the 8, 9, 10 guys that, we roll out every night in the rotation, it's on us to prove coach right in terms of him choosing those guys to play.
And also about you, do you feel that you have something to prove this season with the Wizards?
Yes and no. I want to prove the Wizards right for, betting on me coming off this injury and things like that. I think in terms of what I've done in this league, like it's been pretty special. The last, I would call it 3 seasons of my career. I think I've gained the respect of my peers in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of peace in my heart in terms of the type of basketball player I am and what I can bring to the table. So there's not really much personally that I want to prove. Like I have goals and things, but most of this around and again, like I know people have asked this before as well, like there's also no like personal vendetta against Brooklyn. It's not the same as like the Detroit situation where I really wanted to go back and win and prove myself because I still kind of held certain feelings towards that at the time. Like this really is about, like I've said before, like proving the Wizards right, getting to the playoffs as a team, getting Brad to sign a Supermax. Like those are probably my top 3 things on what I want to do, and the rest will kind of fall into place. And if we have team success, you become just everybody gets paid. You become just a more attractive destination. Like we're in a major city. Like there's no reason we shouldn't be an attractive place for free agents and things like that too. So, team success kind of is the gift that keeps on giving.
Thank you very much. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time today, Spencer. Set.
He said, "Oh yeah, no, it was crazy." He was talking shit. I was like, "Bro, like."
Thank you, everybody, for your patience today with getting Spencer on. We really appreciate that. We will be sending information about tomorrow's media availability later this evening. And thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're tying those up. Next time we just need to